Big Daddy China has had enough of its citizens ruining their own lives, so is stepping in to do it for them. Socialism is back in communist China. Who knew? So in case you missed it, in recent weeks, Beijing has announced,
from today, children in China will only be allowed to play online video games for 3 hours a week.
But that is just for starters. Beijing is also going to stop property speculation, restrict private education, regulate big tech, make 72-hour working weeks illegal, stop annual automatic rent increases, and crack down on social influences and effeminate entertainment culture. Yet President Xi Jinping has come up with a manifesto of policies that would win an election in almost any Western democracy you care to mention, apart from Canada.
The moves are part of Beijing's efforts to promote Chinese socialist values among young people.
Of course, there's criticism about an authoritarian government taking away the right of people to choose what they do in their own lives. The awkward thing about all this, though, is some of these policies seem relatively reasonable.
This is about reining in some companies that had very strong monopolies, were abusing, citizens' private information, data, and also, paying workers very little money.
Also, they're restricting gaming to prevent kids from essentially becoming zombies. That's me paraphrasing it, doesn't say that in the official government release. And they want Chinese families to avoid having to financially ruin themselves just to get a house, while
the Chinese government hopes its crackdown on private tutoring will reduce the cost of raising a child and ease pressure on families. China's birth rate is slowing.
And the crackdown on what one prominent commentator called sissy boy idols is because, well, I'll let you make your own decision on that. If anyone from Canada is watching, don't shoot the messenger. They're not my words, I'm just telling you what's happening. So is the criticism that comes from the West about the lack of democracy involved in these decisions, or the rights of the poor Chinese people? Nah, it's about the cash.
George Soros is saying steer clear, calling BlackRock's strategy to increase allocations there a losing bet. Soros saying, quote, pouring billions of dollars into China now is a tragic mistake.
Yep, Soros, who else, says this crackdown from President Xi has come because he doesn't understand the market economy. The hard truth for Western investors might be that he does understand and he doesn't care whether they lose all their money that's invested in Tencent or Alibaba. He's got bigger ideological fish to fry.
You would not buy any Chinese equities, would you?
Well, no, because I think that you've got a country that's become communist.
Are you going to tell them? Anyway, Western investors losing their shirts should just be glad they live in the free world where governments make absolutely no attempt to control the lives of their citizens. While I've got you here, the Scottish Centre of Crime and Justice Research this week released a report expressing concern over what it calls influence government in Britain. It's a technique that secretly uses sensitive personal data to alter behaviour that has been supercharged by the rise of big tech firms. Does that sound familiar? The report says this is not simply a case of algorithms being used for sorting, surveilling and scoring. Rather, this suggests that targeted interventions in the cultural and behavioural life of communities are now a core part of governmental power, which is being algorithmically driven in combination with influencer networks, traditional forms of messaging and frontline operational practices. That's about the British government to avoid confusion. I found lots of criticism about the actions of the Chinese government, but I found it strangely hard to find a TV news clip about this report. So here's a nice cartoon from YouTube.
Hey man, you're black. You are too.
All this being said, I wouldn't want to be in China when all these man boys get the proverbial red shell and find out they can't play Mario Kart for 26 hours a day anymore. Sorry, I haven't played computer games since the 90s.